Some plans don't fail because the first step goes wrong. They fail because their entire future depends on that step arriving in time. On February 7th, 2012, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning was released. It arrived as a polished fantasy role playing game praised for its combat, scale, and flexibility. But Reckoning was never meant to be a standalone success. It was released as a public introduction to a much larger ambition that was already in motion. This game was not the destination, it was the bridge. Years earlier, 38 Studios set out to build a large scale MMORPG meant to compete with the biggest names in the genre. To support that vision, the company created the world of Amalur, complete with thousands of years of lore and a distinct visual identity intended to anchor a long term franchise. But MMOs take time, and they consume resources long before they generate revenue. At the same time, Big Huge Games was already in the middle of a transition. Known for strategy games, the studio had begun developing a single player role playing game of its own. That project existed before Amalur, before the MMO plan, and before 38 Studios entered the picture. When 38 Studios acquired Big Huge Games, that RPG wasn't canceled. It was repurposed. The project was reshaped to take place in the world of Amalur and positioned as the first public step of the larger franchise. Its role was to introduce the universe, demonstrate the concept, and help sustain the company while the MMO remained in development. That game became Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Reckoning launched to strong critical reception, and its sales exceeded expectations from its publisher. But the future it was tied to required more than a good release. It needed numbers large enough to support everything already in motion. When it couldn't do that and the gap became clear, there was no time left to adjust course. Without big numbers, 38 Studios could not continue operating, and within months, Big Huge Games would close along with it. Some first steps aren't too small, they're just asked to carry too much. And Kingdoms of Amalur reminds us that even when the work is solid, a plan that leaves no room to breathe can still cost more than it ever intended.